ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ So we are seeing the summary of the verses in this Drsya Viveka which has gone so far. So we have divided into three groups. The first group is of first 5 verses. Then the second group of 6 to 12. Then those two groups we have already seen. And the third group, the first five verses talk about what? Talk about 3 seers. Introduction of 3 seers. Mainly the seer number 1 is sense organs, seer number 2 is the mind, seer number 3 is the sakshi. Introduction of 3 seers. Sense organs with the consciousness become a seer. They are inert. That's consciousness is not its nature. So they have borrowed consciousness, which we call Chidabhasa. So sense organs along with the Chidabhasa, well, being conscious now, experience the external world. Then the mind also is inert entity only, made up of 5 subtle elements, etc. That gains a designation of a seer number 2 on account of a borrowed consciousness, Chidabhasa. And it is a seer of the sense organs. Sense organ is a seer of the world. World is seen. The mind is a seer, and sense organs are seen. And then finally the third seer, the sakshi, the witness, which is by nature consciousness, that lends consciousness to the mind and to the senses, makes this gross body also conscious. And that's seer number 3 basically. By nature it is consciousness, sakshi. And so this individual, which we denote by the name I, has 3 seers. You say, I am a conscious being, or I am a knower, I am a seer. It has 3 seers. Depending upon and the meaning of the word I, whether it is seer number 1, seer number 2, seer number 3, is based on what do you see. When you say I know the tree in front of me, I am seeing the tree in front of me. Then sense organ, seer number 1. Well, I have to go to doctor. I feel I am not able to hear properly. So that I is a seer number two, the mind, for which, for whom the sense organs are seen, the condition of the sense organs. And you say, well, I think that my mind is not working properly right now. I have a lot of confusions in my mind. I'm getting angry now. Then definitely you are seer number three, Sakshi, who is aware of the conditions of the mind. The mind is seen. So I is a composite entity of three seers. That is been talked in first five verses. And out of that, well, and how this seer, all the three seers, how this seer number 1, 2 are formed, and what are the functions, etc., has been talked about in verse 6 to 12. And also the relation of the mind with the body, the relation of the mind with this Chidavasa, the relation of the mind with the Sakshi, also has been highlighted in verse 6 to 12. And definitely one should have a knowledge who is a real seer. Who is a real seer? The real seer should be the consciousness. The real seer should be the seer and never the seen. That's a real seer. One who is a seer right now and becomes seen later is a pseudo seer. Pseudo. Why pseudo? Anybody can become a seer and at the same time seen. This is how the world is. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But in a relative world, when you say like this, and here we are talking about the relative nature of the mind and sense organs, then definitely they are not seer by their nature. On account of the consciousness borrowed by them, they become a seer. And therefore, the real seer is the Sakshi alone. Self-illumining, self-shining, self-existent. The consciousness alone is the seer. And therefore, the word I, which indicates the consciousness, should be applied only to the Sakshi, not to the other two. The other two are mithya. And also, this now from verse number 13 to 21. Now we are doing an analysis of the cause of the samsara and also the remedy, etc. What is the remedy for that? That's we are discussing. And there is always it's a fact. Any text you pick up, the cause of the samsara, cause of the problem for the human being, will ultimately lead you to the ignorance of yourself. Not knowing yourself is the cause of samsara. And self-ignorance, well, of one's own composition, which I talked to you, that one is a mixture of three, in which two are mithya, one is really satyam, one is satyam, not really satyam. One is satyam. I should indicate, the word I should apply only to this satyam, that is sakshi. That is my real nature. Not knowing that is the cause of the problem. Taking oneself as a mind. Placing I with the seer number 2, seer number 1. And feeling a sense of limitation. Because mind is limited. You say, I am the mind. Or I am the sense organs. You are limited. Either whenever you call yourself as a seer number 1 or seer number 2, the limitations are going to be there, bound to be there, centered on the self, which you should not have placed, because they are not really the seer. Mithya. And therefore, not knowing that I am Sakshi alone, So there we can call it as a not knowing what is Satyam, what is Mithya. That's the issue. Confusion. Okay, self-ignorance is a problem. Who is responsible or what is responsible for the ignorance? Then we have to bring Mrs. Brahman. So author points out Maya is responsible. So once the topic of Maya comes, then definitely creation comes. Ishvara comes. And therefore, the problem of a samsara brings the creation. Topic of creation. And therefore, the author briefly presented that Maya is Maya. I mean, he introduced the Maya, and Maya, well, leading to ignorance, ignorance leading to samsara. That is how discussed. So creation, Maya, ignorance, samsara, samsari, samsara. All this is order of analysis between verse numbers 13 to 21. And we saw the creation, regarding creation, etc. very well, and we took the example of a pot and clay. Creation is a fact, and from which the effect comes out is called cause. And we took the example of a pot and clay. Definitely clay is created, you need a potter. What's the role of potter in the creating the pot? That also we discussed. So definitely we finally arrived at this. Basically the potter does not do anything. Potter does not add the name and form pot to the clay. Clay is already there. Potter has not to create. The basic substance is there. There is some modification he does in the clay. And that modification what we call is Namarupa. That so potter has brought name and form and added to the clay. He cannot add. He doesn't bring name and form called that pot or potness and add to that. The clay itself has this name and form unmanifest into that. So the potter's job basically is to change this unmanifest name and form into manifest name and form. And this name and form transformation from unmanifest to the manifestation is called creation. What was unmanifest brought to the manifestation. That's called creation. So creation is basically manifestation of a name and form upon the substance, which substance remains the same before and after the manifestation. And with this example, we understood very well the creation. So in the example, clay pot example. And then we will have to discuss the creation of the universe. Universe also will have like a creation of pot. Please keep this thing in mind. It is almost a parallel. So creation of a pot, creation of a universe. And here also, there it is also a name and form manifestation, which were unmanifest in the clay itself. Here also some basic substance is there, and all unmanifest names and forms are there in that basic substance. Like in the example clay, here also, and they are brought to manifestation. Here you don't require a potter because Ishvara himself is a big potter. He only brings out. He's a nimitta karanam. He brings out everything. He has a desire to bring out. He has a knowledge to bring out. He has skills to bring out, power to bring out, omniscient, omnipotent. So he brings out from himself. All unmanifest names and forms are there in him. Brings out. That's how Mundaka Upanishad gives an example. Yathorana nabihi srujate grinnate cha. Just as the spider brings out. The web. which was there in the form of a saliva in him. Every example has a limitation. Don't think too much, because after the creation of a web, spider sometimes leaves the web and goes out. Same way, Ishvara also brings out everything from him, from his saliva, everything, all names and forms, and then Ishvara walks away. He don't think this too much. So example basically has a certain limitation. If you little start thinking on this, then the similarity between the example and exemplified won't stand. Only certain aspect. The aspect which are told to you by the teacher don't extend further. Anyway, therefore the creation, unmanifest names and forms in him was brought. Unmanifest names and forms basically are there in the basic substance. What is that basic substance? That Brahman is the basic substance. All unmanifest names and forms are there. That is the Moola Vastu. And therefore, that is the truth, one can say. Truth of the creation. What is the truth of the pot? It's a clay. Clay is a basic substance. Before and after manifestation of the pot, well, it is clay only. Here also before and after manifestation of the universe, it is just one basic substance called Brahman. That's it. And that Brahman, well, we call it as a Satchidananda, because Brahman is not understood as it is. Then we say Satchidananda. And Satchidananda, Sat means existence. Whole names and forms are associated with existence. We'll be seeing in the verse 20. All names and forms are associated with the existence. You cannot separate. You cannot separate existence from anything in the creation. You cannot separate the consciousness, the knowledge also from anything in the creation. And therefore, pure existence, pure consciousness, which is limitless, because the whole creation resides in that. Therefore, Ananda or Ananta, etc., that limitless existence consciousness is the basic substance which was present before creation and is present after creation, like the clay was present before the creation of pot and will be there even after the pot. Anyway, and of course in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad one more thing also is added. Everything in this world, well, may be classified into names and forms and also action, Nama, Rupa and Karma. So the manifest Nama Rupa has appropriate function. Substance has no function. The form has a function. Clay has no function. The pot has a function. We should remember this. These are the things we should deliberate upon. The moment function comes, the reality goes. The reality comes into that. Anything, it is so useful and you say it is mithya, that's what it is. That's what it is. Basic substance has no use. The form has a use. That's how Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says Nama Rupa Karma. Karma here, function, purpose, etc. In fact, sometimes the name is given to refer to whatever the function, the Rupa, the form has. That's how it is. Anyway, so this is the universe. Basic substance, the Brahman, plus manifest Nama Rupa. Before creation, same basic substance, Brahman, plus unmanifest Nama Rupa, etc. So Brahman plus unmanifest Nama Rupa is the cause. Brahman plus manifest Nama Rupa is the effect. And so, and the technical name we give to this unmanifest Nama Rupa which are there with the Brahman as non-separate, well, which is located in Brahman as a non-separate, well, that is Maya. So, Brahman plus unmanifest Nama Rupa means Brahman plus Maya is the cause. Clay plus unmanifest pot is the cause for the pot manifestation. And Brahman plus manifest Nama Rupa is the universe, the effect. And two distinct names are there, As I told you, Brahman plus unmanifest Nam Rupa, that is Maya is Ishvara, and Brahman plus manifest Nam Rupa is called Jagat or universe. Or no, but that is ultimately Ishvara Swamiji. Then still there is another name. Brahman plus unmanifest name and form, Maya, is called Ishvara. Brahman plus manifest name and form is Ishvara alone, but now we have to give different name, and that's called Virat. Vishwarupa. That's what it is. So Ishvara and Virat, and in between all these subtle elements and all these, Hiranyagarbha. Same Ishvara. First, because this is a gross universe. So, well, we add one more step. First subtle elements and then grossification. So subtle universe also comes out. Yeah. Brahman plus unmanifest Nam Rupa, then first manifestation of a subtle elements. Subtle, the Sukshma Prapancha. So Brahman plus Sukshma Prapancha is Hiranyagarbha. Brahman plus this gross names and forms, Sthula Prapancha, is Virat. And therefore Brahman continues to be present all the time in basic substance without having any transformation at any time. Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya. Brahman is Brahman. And that Brahman continues to be the same always. Nam Rupa, that is upon that Brahman goes through the unmanifest and manifest condition. So conversion of this unmanifest name and form into manifest name and form is a creation. And conversion of a manifest name and form to the unmanifest name and form is a dissolution. So this goes on and on. That's what Bhagavan said, Avyaktat, Vyaktaya, Sarvaha, etc. So in short, there is only Brahman. Right? There is only clay. Clay plus unmanifest name and form, pot, is the cause, becomes manifest. Again clay plus manifest name and form, we call creation of pot. That's a manifestation, but it is clay only. So before creation clay, after manifestation clay, dissolution of a pot into clay is only clay. That's a reality. That's called Adhishthanam. That's ultimate reality. Adhishthanam, Adi plus Sthanam. Sthanam, place. Adi stands for Adhikam. Higher place in terms of reality. In terms of reality. What has empirical reality? Clay is really real. Right? Clay is real. Clay is Adhishthanam. That's how we have to understand. Same way here also, what is there is just Ishvara. That's it. When I say what is there is Ishvara, you are saying what is there is Brahman. Now you are saying what is there is Ishvara. Well, you don't have any buddhi. Okay. When I say everything is Ishvara, I am looking at names and forms also. Accounting for names and forms. Along with the name and form and the substance, Ishvara. Name and form is really not there. It is mithya. It's an appearance on the basic substance. Then you are looking at the basic substance. Then I say everything is Brahman. That's how it is. So author says this is Maya, which is nothing but this unmanifest name and form, and located in Brahman, is also known by another name called Brahma Shakti. Maya is named as Shakti. Shakti, power. And no power can exist independently. It has to exist in some substance. For example, like my speaking power cannot exist separately from the person, the Swami, that has the power. So, Maya Shakti also rests in Brahman, depends on, we call the power of creating, power of sustenance, the power of resolution. Right? Due to which the creation manifests. So, Brahman has that Shakti to manifest into the universe, creating power. Brahman has the Shakti to sustain the creation, power of sustenance. And Brahman has the power to resolve the creation, like Shakti. That Shakti is nothing but this Maya. Brahman is Brahman. No power. Powerless Brahman. Powerless Brahman. But because of this Maya alone, there is a creation, resolution, and sustenance. And therefore, the Maya itself is called Shakti, the power. And that is non separate from the one who has the power. Like my speaking power, you cannot separate. Swami, you want to do, if you don't want to take classes for 1.5 months, no problem. You give away your speaking power, and I will fix it in my room. And every day at 10:30, I will just press the button, and it starts speaking. No. If you want my speaking power in your room, the Swami also has to come. Any power is a non-separate from the power. Shakti is non-separate from the Shaktiman, the conscious being. So Brahman, the consciousness, has this power. That's it. Therefore, there is no non-dual Brahman. See? Because Brahman plus Maya, you are seeing. Where is non-duality? Where is non-duality? It's a mithya, basically. It's not a reality. So we assume, if we see the creation, well, we assume that there is a power. So Maya is a factor by which you explain the creation, sustenance, and everything. So Maya Shakti rests in Brahman, depending upon Brahman for its very existence. Therefore, it is also mithya. And the Maya Shakti has these two powers. I am answering the question, what is responsible for the self-ignorance? That question. For that, we have brought the creation, Maya, everything, I told you. And this Maya Shakti has these two powers. One is this Vikshepa Shakti, and which power to manifest. And that power, and that is the power which converts the unmanifest into manifestation. So Vikshepa Shakti. So Vikshepa Shakti means, so Maya alone is, you say Swamiji, Maya is means unmanifest names and forms. That alone manifest. Yeah. So Maya has these two Shakti. One is a Vikshepa Shakti by which the unmanifest names and forms will manifest. So Vikshepa, generally Vikshepa Shakti we call, because Vikshepa means a throwing out. V plus Kshipa Dhatu. As such, the root Kship, Kshipati, 6 conjugation, means to throw. Here V, of course, is added here. But so V plus Kshipa Dhatu, from there only the word Vikshepa has come, means throwing out or projecting. So manifestation of the universe is in the hands of this Vikshepa Shakti of Maya, which rests in Brahman, which is non-separate from Brahman. And then the second power, well, Maya alone is in this twofold form, Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. Second power is this Avarana Shakti, the power of covering, veiling the truth. And so, first the Vikshepa Shakti of the Ishvara, manifest, starts functioning at the time of creation. Avarana Shakti at that time doesn't do its job. And Ishvara, so that's how Ishvara is not affected by the Avarana Shakti of the Maya. And when the Vikshepa Shakti is operating, all the unmanifest names and forms gets manifest. And all the universe and these individual jivas are also thrown out, basically. Once the jiva and Jagat come into the manifestation, the Avarana Shakti of this Maya becomes active, and because of that, every jiva is ignorant of the basic truth, that it is a basic substance. I am the Brahman. He doesn't know. And this just name and form, the body, etc., is mithya, that he doesn't know. So jiva is all Brahman plus name and form. He doesn't know due to this Avarana Shakti, veiling power. And he also doesn't know that Jagat also is the basic substance alone, and the names and forms are mithya. That's called ignorance. Right? We say, how come I don't know myself that I am a Brahman? Because of the Avarana Shakti. Of what? Maya. That's how it is. And therefore, Avarana Shakti of the Maya alone is called Ajnana. And this self-ignorance leads to all the problems. Headache. All the problems. Misplaced. If I don't know I am Brahman, what is in front, I will take it as myself. So what is projected by the Maya, that alone is a reality for me. Projected by Maya is all this, name, all the bodies, etc. And I take them as myself. And then I suffer from limitation, because they are limited. Limitation, emotional limitations, physical limitations, intellectual limitations. Intellect has intellectual limitations, it will remain all the time. Mind has emotional limitation, it will remain all the time, whatever you do. However you grow, whatever amount you grow, I will grow. Emotional limitations will remain in the mind. Physical limitation will remain in the mind. Sensory power remain limited in the senses. Intellectual limitations will remain in the intellect. They will remain. But you placed I in that. You are Brahman, basic substance. Pot has just to claim that I am clay. And therefore I am all over, all pervading. No, I am pot. Over. Then bigger pot, you feel prejudice. Smaller pot, you feel that you are big. Big and small. This is samsara. Sometimes you feel I am big. Sometimes you feel I am small. Not knowing that you are the biggest, then this smallness, bigness will go forever. That's how it is. So the veiling power of the Maya, due to which what is thrown out is they are covered. The nature is covered. That's called avarana. So Jiva doesn't know that I am Brahman, basic substance. And therefore self-knowledge is the solution to come out of this samsara. That was discussed in verse number 13 to 21. And to make it more clear, you can take an example of a dream. That's really wonderful example. How the Avarana Shakti of the Maya has created all these issues. To understand it properly, well, you take an example of your own creation. Then you can understand the creation of Ishvara also. So our own dream is basically a very good example for that. The dream has also two powers, Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. So when we go to the sleep, right, that ignorance is there, has twofold power. There Maya, here ignorance. The very sleep indicates ignorance of the waker. That ignorance has twofold power. So Vikshepa Shakti takes over now in sleep, and internal world is created. Beautiful. Generated. So once the waker, when going to sleep, enters the dream world as a dream individual, operating the dream body, etc., and experiencing the dream universe. And then Avarana Shakti starts operating. And the dream individual doesn't know the dream as a dream. And the dream is taken as a real. Right? And it becomes a problem. So this is what the Avarana Shakti does. Veil the truth. Veiling the truth. Covering the truth. I am simply a waker, basically. And I am creating a dream. And if you experience the dream as a dream, there is a joy. Dream world is not a problem. Like you enjoy a film or a TV serial. You do enjoy. You know it is all mithya. You enjoy it. But the dream world becomes real. And what is real is totally covered. That's how it is. And so, basically, if Avarana Shakti was not operating, the dreamer will have total knowledge. and well, he can control the dream, he can enjoy it, and he can even end the dream at will by waking up, but it doesn't happen. Similarly, for the waker individual, also the Avarana Shakti covers the truth regarding what is Satyam and what is Mithya, and therefore you say, I am just body, mind, sense complex, I am a human being, etc. And the real, I mean the Brahman, which is the reality of you, is totally covered. And what is Mithya is taken as a Satyam. Like the dream world is taken as Satyam, and then you suffer from the dream tiger or dream thief. That's what it is. Just creating dream is not an issue. It's not an issue. In fact, we always go for getting enjoyment, to see these films and TV serials and whatnot. What is Mithya gives joy. Avarana Shakti does the job of plucking the reality from the real and giving it to the Mithya. That's what it is. So Mithya becomes Satyam. Then it becomes issue. Maya, which is Mithya, out of this body, mind, sense complex are created. Maya itself is a existence, borrowed existence in a Brahman, non-separate from Brahman. From that, this body, mind, sense complex are created. They are also Mithya, but they are taken as real because of the Maya's Avarana Shakti. Vikshepa Shakti has created this, but Maya's Avarana Shakti, due to which, well, this is taken as real, this is taken as Atma. And then you suffer. Centered on I, now you suffer all kinds of limitations which pertain to the body. And definitely body will have limitations. That's how Jnani will have all kinds of limitations. In spite of limitation, Jnani says, I am limitless, knowing the reality. That is the thing. So this is regarding, and the same Avarana Shakti we can say when, let's go, now this Avarana Shakti, let us divide it into two. This Avarana Shakti of the Maya basically not only at the individual level covers like this, it also covers at the level of a Samashti also. So basically, let us first discuss the Avarana Shakti covers the distinction between the mind and the Sakshi Chaitanyam at the internal individual level. Mind is basically a real part projected by the Maya, and it is subject to arrival, departure, etc. The Sakshi alone is a Satyam, which always remains as a Adhisthana. So I, the Sakshi, am Satyam, and mind is basically Mithya, but I am not able to know the following difference because of the Avarana Shakti, and therefore I mistake myself to be the mind. So the differences are, well, basically I am the Sakshi and the mind is I am the Sakshi, I am the seer, really speaking, and the mind is seeing. I am a consciousness principle, mind is inert. I am free from modification and the mind is subject to modification. I am Satyam, the mind is Mithya, it's Maya's projection. Due to Maya's Vikshep Shakti only everything has come, and therefore like from clay, the part manifest, unmanifest part manifest, Mithya, it's just a projection because the basic substance is still clay. Exactly like that. Clear? And therefore, never think this body, mind, sense complex is created. Any creation is a projection, manifestation of the same basic substance. At this moment also it is the clay. Then you understand this body, mind, sense complex also is like this. So it is Maya's projection, Vikshepa Shakti. And there are so many differences between like Sakshi and the mind, but I do not notice these differences because of the Avarana Shakti of Maya. Mind is Mithya, I, the Sakshi, is real. I am the substance. No. Mind is Satyam. I am the mind. And there is no existence called Sakshi, etc. Sakshi has become Mithya. And mind has become Satyam. Plucking the reality from the Sakshi, giving it to the mind. This is just a dramatic. Don't think that somebody is doing like this. And very same Avarana Shakti, this is at a Veshti level, individual level. The very same Avarana Shakti causes confusion at the external level. Externally, Avarana Shakti covers the distinction between the Brahman, the cause of the world, Sat, and the world names and forms, effect. So difference between the cause and the effect is what? Cause is only substance and the effect is a non-substantial name and form. We know now. Pot is effect, clay is a cause. What is pot? Name and form, which is non-substantial. What is substance? Clay. Right? So that is how cause exists in all the three periods of time, effect is impermanent, subject to arrival and departure. Cause is Satyam, effect is Mithya. This cause-effect difference is also not noticed by the individual because of the Avarana Shakti of the Maya pervading the universe. Vikshepa Shakti has brought the universe. Avarana Shakti of the Maya has covered the nature of universe is nothing but Brahman. The basic substance is Brahman. Instead, names and forms, non-substantial names and forms gain substantiality. We consider Jagat as Satyam. Here we consider body, mind, sense complex is Satyam. I am body, mind, sense complex. I am human being. I am a seer. I am doer. I am enjoyer. I am a knower. Or else, I am Sukhi, Dukhi, whatever. All that there is an element of a body, mind, sense complex is all the time there in your introduction of I. I is just free from all this. It's just pure consciousness, nothing else. In which the whole world, let's say here now an individual, this body, mind, sense complex is non-separate. Because it has come from the Maya and Maya is definitely non-separate from Brahman. That Brahman happens to be the Sakshi, the consciousness. But he doesn't know because of the Avarana Shakti. Same way in a Samashti also, at a total level also the same thing. Everything is a basic substance, Brahman alone. But the names and forms which are manifest from the basic substance due to the Vikshepa Shakti of the Maya, well, we could have enjoyed the world, that they are just appearances of the same substance called Brahman, or it means everything is Brahman by nature. We don't know. Because Avarana Shakti also operates later. Therefore, names and forms become, they are non-substantial. They gain substance, they become real. And Brahman is forgotten. What is real is totally gone, becomes mithya. And what is non-substantial, what is mithya is now satyam. Maya does this job. So this is how the cause, let us say, the Brahman exists in all three periods of time, effect is impermanent, it is subject to arrival and departure, and it arrives and departs. Either you call what we call geological time, or in your when you go to sleep, the whole world sleeps for you, whole world resolves for you, as though. Or else the world resolves, really speaking, in a geological time. It resolves. Anything which arrives and departs cannot be Satyam. What departs is subject to negation, therefore cannot be taken as Satyam. Satyam is which cannot arrive and which cannot depart. Na udeti nastameti esha samvit swayam prabha. We have seen already. It is in 5th verse. Na udeti nastameti. It never arises. It never subsides. Esha. This is the swayam prabha samvit. Samvit consciousness. Swayam prabha self-effulgent consciousness. Which lends existence to names and forms, on account of which everything is illumined, that never goes and comes. And therefore, this cause-effect difference is also not noticed by the individual. Effect is mithya, cause is satyam, the substance is satyam, the name and form is mithya. And so Brahman world distinction is also not known in the external world. Here Sakshi mind difference is, or Sakshi body mind sense complex difference is also not known. One is Satyam, one is Mithya. Outside also, Brahman is Satyam, world is Mithya, names and forms, that is also not known. It's due to Avarana Shakti of Maya. Throwing out everything, Jiva and Jagat, at the same time covering the Jiva and covering the Jagat. Both. Covering Jiva and Jagat, both have come out, right? With this, both have come out from this Maya. The Maya itself is non-separate from Brahman. So the basic substance basically is Brahman. What comes out from the clay, unmanifest pot, or whatever it is. I am just giving example of a pot. You can take anything. All unmanifested names and forms from the clay comes out. Is clay only right now. So what is projected by Vikshepa Shakti of the Maya remains projection, then it's wonderful. I am Jiva is a projection. Wonderful. Jagat, various names and forms are just a projection. Wonderful. Because you all see yourself as Brahman, you see everything as Brahman. And wonderful. That's how Jnani's life is wonderful. But then, Avarana Shakti covers the nature of Brahman, which is the real. And the names and forms have been taken as the real. So Jagat is real, I am Jiva is real, the duality is real, everything is real. Once you say I am a Jiva, the duality, Mataji, has come. Huh? So this is how avidya, the Avarana Shakti of the Maya, which we call avidya, ignorance, brings out this duality. And when there is a duality, there is fight. This is called samsara. Somewhere there is a jealousy, and somewhere there is something else, and somewhere there is a lust, and somewhere there is an anger. All Shad Ripus are possible because there is a Dvaitam. You are different, I am different. That's it. Jagat is different, I am different. And Pujya Swamiji goes to one step further. He says the duality, has a potential to create a fear. Because what is not you is very big. You are Jiva, individual, with a limited power, limited senses, and limited desires, and limited, everything limited. And what is not you, this Jagat, is so large. Like it is like a person who is a 2 feet, with a 2 feet height, standing in front of a person who is a 20 feet high. Just by the presence of that person, that fellow is scared now. This is how it is. The world has a potential to create a fear in you. Dvaitathi bhayam bhavati. Dvaitathi bhayam bhavati. Even though there is one substance, one Brahman, it's all projection. The body mind sense complex is a projection of Maya. The outside all names and forms also, all different bodies and everything, also is a projection of Maya. Maya itself is Mithya, projection is Mithya. Unmanifest or manifest, it is Mithya. Pot remains in unmanifest form, or pot becomes manifest, it is Mithya. The substance is clay, that's it. So unmanifest or manifest, Maya or the universe, whatever you say, it's ultimately Mithya. Mithya cannot divide the substance, the basic substance, the Brahman. It cannot divide. It cannot divide. But due to ignorance, I feel a division, a duality. I am limited, etc. World is not, world is different from me, etc. This is samsara. So, ignorance, brings this adhyasa, or ignorance brings this samsara. You can directly say ignorance is come from the Maya, ultimately, Avarana Shakti of the Maya, which is non-separate from Brahman. Knowing. Jnani does this. Jnani cannot remove the Vikshepa Shakti of Ishvara. Jnani removes Avarana Shakti and becomes like Ishvara. Ishvara has just thrown out, everything, Vikshepa Shakti. And what is thrown out is covered by Avarana Shakti. So Ishvara is free from Avarana Shakti. And therefore, basically, the Jnani also, by removing Avarana Shakti, as though remains in a Ishvara Srushti. Ishvara Srushti. Because it's a Vikshepa Shakti of ultimately Parmeshwara. Means Maya's Vikshepa Shakti he cannot remove. By Vikshepa Shakti he is created. Jiva has come to the manifestation. But then due to Avarana Shakti he was not knowing I am the basic substance, Brahman alone. And this name and form, Sharir, body, mind, sense complex is Mithya, was not knowing because of the Avarana Shakti. Well, now he has removed, understood the Mithya as a Mithya and taken as a basic substance, that I am Brahman. Thereby, well, now he remains in the Ishvara Srushti. Samsara goes away. This is called Mukti. So this is how the things is. Now, in this verse 13 to 21, there is verse number 20 which is very oft quoted. You know very well. We will see that verse. It says, Asti bhati priyam rupam nama chetyam shapanchakam adyatrayam brahma rupam jagat rupam tatodvayam. How to do this now? This you said confusion due to Avarana Shakti between Satyam and Mithya and everything. So you have to segregate. So well, what kind of a segregation, discrimination is there? Or is there really physically, shall I separate the basic substance and the names and forms? Can I do that? Well, you said I am Brahman and these names and forms, body, mind, sense complex is Mithya. Can I separate them? Etc. etc. So well, we say the differentiation is in a intellectual process, because they can never be separated. The object can be physically separated from each other when both are limited. But Brahman being limitless, nothing can be separated from limitless, and therefore physical separation is not possible. So existence and consciousness being all pervading cannot be physically separated from the names and forms, world or body, mind, sense complex. Only intellectual separation is possible, cognitive separation is possible, discrimination we call. Discriminative analysis of this will lead to the separation. So at an objective level, well, pure existence cannot be seen separately. At a subjective level, I cannot physically separate consciousness from the three bodies. So in the waking state, the gross body continues. In the dream state, the dream body continues. In the deep sleep state, even in the samadhi, well, the causal body continues. So I am never going to experience the pure consciousness, which we'll be discussing in Panchadashi 10th chapter. I want to experience pure consciousness, devoid of all names and forms. You have to forget, because name and form means Maya. Maya also is Anadi. Brahman is Anadi, Maya is Anadi. And Maya, well, all the time is non-separate from Brahman. All the time, from beginningless time. And it will remain. Therefore, forget about experiencing pure consciousness. You want to experience pure consciousness. And therefore, well, you only have to do differentiation. This is Satyam. This is me. What is Satyam? You claim. What is Mithya? You drop. That's what we have to do. What is Mithya? You have to drop. You can't claim what is Mithya. Right? You can't claim what is Mithya. So, what is Satyam? You should understand. That's what we can do. So, author presents a method of discrimination in this verse, basically. Very oft quoted, I said you. So, we are all the time in our experiences, Satyamsha is also there, Mithyamsha is there, which we talked also. Everything is a mixture of Satyam and Mithya. Everything. Jiva is also a mixture of Satyam and Mithya. Jagat also is Satyam and Mithya. Ishvara also is Satyam Mithya. Consciousness, Brahman plus Maya. You say everywhere it is like this. It will remain like this. Vedanta gives you a understanding what is Satyam, what is Mithya. Why? Why it should give understanding? Avarana Shakti. Mithya has been taken as Satyam and Satyam is forgotten. So Vedanta works at that level of removing the Avarana Shakti of the Maya. That Avarana Shakti we call it as ignorance of the self. Therefore, basically, so five in your experiences always you will find these five components, and three of them belongs to Brahman, the Satyamsha, and two belongs to the creation. I use the words amsha. Don't think that there are really two amsha. Whenever you feel two, immediately remember pot clay or gold ornament or water wave or something, whatever you like. Yeah, or rope snake. There is only rope. This rope snake, rope snake. Anyway, so three of those components belong to Brahman and two belongs to creation. This is what we experience, and there five components are there. And that has been told. Asti bhati priyam. Asti, existence. You cannot dissociate existence from anything. How will you experience a thing without existence? How will you experience? And therefore, asti means existence, and it will be in the form of a is, it will be in the form of an are, or it will be in the form of an am. Ultimately, the meaning of is, am, are is existence. And you never experience anything which is non-existent. Even non-existent thing is referred as nothing is existent. We say like that. So, nothing is existent ultimately leads to the existence of consciousness. Anyway, I don't want to go into that at this moment. But asti is otherwise known as Sat, which is all pervading, starting from space. Space is. Okay. So asti pervades everything. Brahma. That is the Brahman. Because that's a basic substance. Basic substance pervades any effect. The substance pervades any effect. Yeah. One name and form will be different from another name and form. Effect, so-called name and form will differ. The substance will not. Substance will not differ. Whether you take a pot or you make a, that elephant. Whatever you make out of clay, it is clay only. Whatever the space, one name and form, and then the air, another name and form, and the fire, the another name and form, and the tree, another name and form, or a star, and these and that, or ocean and mountain, whatever you say. One thing pervades everything, which is the cause. That's a basic substance, that is asti, existence. Whether you say is or you don't say is all the time there. You just say space, but space is. That's it. So, anyway, but it is common in all experiences, and being common in all experiences, we have taken for granted. So, Vedanta is not helping me to experience the existence. Vedanta, because it is always experienced. Vedanta's aim is only drawing your attention from the name and form to the existence which is associated with the name and form. Saying this name and form is just an appearance. Don't consider as Satyam. Come out of this Avarana Shakti of Maya and pay attention to the existence which is pervading everything. It's pervading and it cannot go. It cannot go. Nothing is existence. When you say that is cannot go, that is Satyam. Name and form will appear, disappear. Appear, disappear. In a given life itself, several names and forms gone. Then this name and form also gone. Another name and form, another name and form. But the existence associated with it never goes. That is Satyam. So, Adyatrayam Brahma Rupa. First is Asti, is a Brahma Rupa. Then, second is a Bhati. It is known to me. Right? It is known, it is experience, etc. So, everything that is experience is known. And it is known because if it is not known, I will never say it is. And therefore, the very talk about the existence presupposes the experience. Experience means knowing. The existence of what we do not experience cannot be talked about. So, and therefore, no one can talk about an unknown thing. For example, if I say, I do not know this Urdu language, etc. Well, The fact that I do not know the Urdu language is also known to me ultimately. And therefore, everything is known or unknown is known to me. This is unknown to me. These are known to me. This is known to me. And therefore, a given thing is known or unknown that you can talk about because you know, as unknown or known. Vidita vidita abhyam anyat. Kenopanishad said, vidita avidita abhyam anyat. Viditam, known. Aviditam, unknown. This Atma, the Brahman, is basically what is known and what is unknown. All object category either is known or unknown. What is unknown is, for that we use another word, knowable. We say knowable, means right now unknown, but it has a potential to be known in future. And therefore, everything is known to me or as known or unknown. And therefore, it definitely, that knowledge, by which a given thing is known or unknown, that knowledge is associated with everything in the creation we call consciousness. You say object of knowledge or you say object of consciousness. And so bhati means known, associated with knowledge or consciousness, that also will be there. So everything in the creation is associated with existence and consciousness. Some of the things in the world are known, object of consciousness. Certain things are unknown, but yet unknown, known as unknown, consciousness, object of consciousness, as unknown as known. The very fact that you say I don't know, well, it falls within consciousness. When you say I know, falls within consciousness, plus mind. Yeah. There are certain things which are within the boundary of a ashram. There are certain people which are within the boundary of a ashram. There are people which are outside the boundary of a ashram. Right? Outside, inside, with respect to the wall, or a boundary wall. But with respect to space, all are within. All are within. So what you say, well, I know this, means definitely your mind is involved. But there are billions of things which you don't know. They remain unknown, still within consciousness. Otherwise you cannot say. If it is, you cannot say it is unknown to me unless it is illumined by the consciousness. And therefore, unknown means just fall within consciousness. Known means mind plus consciousness. We have to understand this. So everything is associated with existence. Everything is associated with consciousness also. And then Priyam, I'm just completing 2-3 minutes, I'm taking more. Priyam is dear, everything is associated with the dearness. Everything is an object of, my or someone's liking. Need not be everything I like. There are certain things which are liked by the fish, which I don't like. The very smell and the texture and everything, the very touch, I don't like. But fish like very much. So these are objects are basically liked. Also all objects are basically object of liking by different jivas. Or for me, one Acharya says, well, objects are liked by me in two different ways. Some are liked when they come and some are liked when they go. And therefore some people give happiness wherever they go and some people give happiness whenever they go. And therefore every object is associated with called like and dislikes. Ultimately the disliked object also is an object of a like when they go away. And therefore basically object by going away gives you ananda, or object by coming in your life becomes ananda, source of ananda. So it's a priyam is involved ultimately. That's how one Acharya says, and I feel it is a really brilliant thing. So priyam means basically definitely indicates an ananda, then only you like. So everything in the creation has associated with sat chit ananda. That is the adhishthanam Adhikam sthanam. Adhikam sthanam. That's a reality. Final reality is this. There are three types of reality: empirical and subjective, and the absolute. We say like that based on our experiences, but finally, this is the reality. Satchidananda alone is a reality of everything, and therefore, if that's a reality of everything, then where is duality? Where is duality? There is no duality. A given name and form also is Satchidananda, the other name and form is also Satchidananda, the third also is associated with Satchidananda, means that is also Satchidananda. Then where is Satchidananda? Satchidananda is a whole. Is a whole. One whole. That is you. And Nama Rupa, everything associated with the name. Rupa means form, referred to any property, etc. So all our experiences have Satchidananda, name and form. A wise person who knows that the first three belongs to Brahman, that is the self, and last two belongs to the world. Name and form. That's it. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.